Cardinal Stephen Kim Sou-hwan died on February 16, 2009 at 87. Cardinal Kim went beyond a Korean Catholic leader and an elder respected by all Koreans. His death had drawn so many mourners. Born during the Japanese colonial era, the late Cardinal lived through the vicissitudes of the Korean history, Korean liberation, dictatorship, and democratization. He played a significant role in the 1987 June struggle. He was a true symbol of unwavering spirit of the times when justice was greatly threatened. Why don't we explore the life of the revered mentor of the times? In March 1969, Archbishop Kim Sou-hwan was among the new cardinals announced by Pope Paul VI. A cardinal is a prelate who assists the Pope and has the right to participate in the papal election. Archbishop Kim Sou-hwan became the first Korean and the youngest person in the world to be elevated to this prestigious position. It was during the era of military dictatorship under Park Chung-hee, and the Catholic Church openly criticized the government. Many Catholic priests faced repression and imprisonment for their involvement in the pro-democracy movement. The relationship between the Catholic community and the Park regime was strained due to the government's crackdown. Despite these harsh circumstances, Cardinal Kim Sou-hwan never stopped criticizing injustices in line with the spirit of the Second Vatican Council. On December 6, 1971, a year before the implementation of the Yushin regime, the Park Chung-hee government declared a state of national emergency and passed a law granting the president emergency powers to restrict the basic rights of people. In response, Cardinal Kim Sou-hwan openly criticized the regime in a nationwide broadcast of his Christmas midnight mass on December 25, 1971. The Myeongdong Cathedral, the center of the Korean Catholic community, played a critical role for the pro-democracy movement in the 1970s and 1980s through active engagement in pressing societal issues. Particularly in 1987, during the commemorative Mass for the 7th anniversary of the Gwangju democratization movement, the Cathedral exposed the cover-up and manipulation of the Park Jung-chul torture and murder case and was a focal point during the June struggle of that year. On June 10, 1987, the national rally to condemn the cover-up of the Park Jung-chul torture and murder and to demand constitutional reforms took place, drawing a large number of participants. The regime responded with force, firing tear gas and exercising harsh crackdown. Around 1,000 protesters fleeing from the police sought refuge in the Myeongdong Cathedral at night, where the priest provided protection for the socially alienated. From that point on, the cathedral became the place for overnight sit-ins and supporting the protesters. The government found the situation at the Myeongdong Cathedral threatening and continued to fire tear gas, leaving the cathedral enveloped in smoke. On June 12, the chief of the Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency declared an end to tolerance and announced a forceful crackdown. Cardinal Kim fell in deep agony. He questioned, "How can we stop the desecration of Myeongdong Cathedral, the center of Catholicism in Korea?" That night, Cardinal Kim Sou-hwan told the chief of the Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency who visited his office, "Please convey my message word by word to the government authorities. To arrest the students, you should step on me first, then the priests and nuns." Eventually, the Chunduhan regime yielded. They officially declared that they would not suppress the Myeongdong Cathedral protesters by force. Subsequently, in the afternoon of the 15th, the protesters held a dismissal ceremony bringing an end to the 6-day sit-in. Although the sit-in ended, people's protest did not. The sit-in at Myeongdong Cathedral was followed by the no tear gas rally on the 18th and the national march on the 26th. The cathedral played a catalyst for sustaining the momentum of the protests and spreading it nationwide. Of course, this process was actively participated by Cardinal Kim himself, along with other priests and nuns, as well as students and citizens who dared to sacrifice. On the day the sit-in was lifted, Cardinal Kim said during his homily, "We must commit ourselves to the construction of a fundamentally humane society, not just to the democratization of politics." A humane society could be built through the practice of justice and love, where the dignity and fundamental rights of every human being are respected, and where we care for each other. The life of Cardinal Kim Sou-hwan, who strived for a just, where people are respected and their basic rights are guaranteed to the fullest extent. His message is still alive in our society. What should we do for true democracy that goes beyond political and institutional democracy?